Hello, I'm Tanya, live and direct, well not really live, but definitely direct from London on the 25th of February 2018. Had a long night last night with two kids, one 9-month-old and another that will be 3 in April. So it's February now, can't do the math, sleep deprived. So I'm just really trying to get this YouTube thing off the ground and really interested just to make videos and to talk and not, well, I just like to talk. So see how far I can go with having a conversation with myself. And today I wanted to, well, I've been promising I was going to do for a long time lots of things about my birth experience. Had two very different birth experience. One emergency C-section where they put me to sleep, and one Earth Mama, fantastic water birth, which I did hypnobirthing with in a birth centre, which I fought for here at Chelsea in Westminster. I really enjoyed it. It was great. So I just wanted to give my, and that was part of me, some top 10 tips, I would say, to think about when considering a Vbac and going through a Vbac, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So I'm going to be looking at my question sheet because I thought about this properly. So one, I would say, do your research. And I'm from the Midlands, so you heard me say research. It just came out, then I heard it pop out. But yeah, do your research. I've got here balance risks, and that can be with things of multiple C-sections, how that can affect your fertility, how the adhesions to the womb later on can cause complications. That's actually one of the reasons my grandmother passed away, like later on in life after having 6 children. And how well did your, also how well did your cesarean section heal? Did it get infected? And does it still feel tender? Do you have pains there? Do you just totally not even remember that it's there? So I think it's really important to do your research and understand the risks with going with a Vbac and different types of Vbac, because they will offer you to be continuously monitored. And that's when they take a little like butterfly thing and stick it in the baby's scalp. That can allow them to see if the baby's going into distress, if there's any problems. They can reach in there and change the plan and help you out a lot more quickly. Downside to that is that, I've had that before with the first pregnancy, and you kind of can't really move around, you can't go in the water. It's a bit medical having a string coming out of your hoo-ha when you're in pain and you're thinking what's going on to the baby. So it's just also about your mental strength and not to say strength, but, is that something you really want to, is that going to add to your birth experience, take it away? So I definitely say that's something you need to think about. And at the end of the day, your baby and your own health is optimal. Forget what anybody else, what any of your friends did and what births they had. At the end of the day, being a mom starts already, and you just need to focus on bringing the baby safely into the world. And whatever way that looks is the way that looks. We can always have hopes and aspirations. Sometimes we exceed them, sometimes it doesn't happen. Get to know, second point I have is get to know your nurses, the midwives, or the nurses, the midwives, the Vbac team. I really felt like we were all kind of in it together. They were really excited for me, and I had to go and meet with the consultants, and they prepared me for those meetings. They were a little bit more progressive in their thoughts than some of the consultants, and even though they prepared me for it, I wasn't prepared for how negative this guy was. And he had 2 students in there, didn't look at me. I was with my son. He made me feel like, and my husband couldn't come, made me feel like I was some single mother who was just doing something so ridiculous and dangerous. And he was saying, well, if he was on the ward, he's not going to break my water or do this or do that. He's going to force me to do this. So, I left that room feeling really deflated, like I was doing the wrong thing. And luckily they knew that particular doctor was like that, and they persistently followed up with me, and I wasn't going to tell them until they dragged it out of me. And then they said, yeah, we're checking because we've heard that a lot. So that also prepared me. They didn't discredit what he said. but they just wanted to make sure that I still felt empowered, and understood that that it's all just risks, and anything can happen. If you're nervous, I would say, if you can afford it, or I know some charities do, to get a doula. I got a doula with my second birth, because I just felt like everything, just like with the first one, everything just got carried away, and I had some nervousness about whether I could do it or not. And then they were just like putting the pessary in. I thought they were looking, then they did it. Someone that I really sat down with and decided what I wanted to do in my birth, and he was going to help me to execute that. And I really found that she was amazing. She was like, I was so like in my mind and gone during birth. She was like a little spirit guide or something, and every now and then I'd have a question and she would answer me, and she was just doing all of these great stuff. And even though, she was just great. She was just, it's like, she was just like a guide in that. And she hasn't had children herself, actually, this lady, but she was just, she knew her stuff. And every time I was like, oh my God, what's this sensation? She's like, it's just this, it's not that. And, I'd started breathing in a different way. And she reminded me at one point, when she saw I was struggling to use my voice, because she'd heard I'd started vocalizing earlier on in the evening. And using my voice, I was like, what do you mean? She said, just use your voice. And I started, and this sound was so deep and crazy. And at the deeper the sound, I just felt my body open up, and I felt the baby move down. And it was just like such a crazy thing, this noise. I was just like totally free. And I'm quite, not reserved, I'm quite a wild and fun person. But when it comes to emotions, I try to maintain a composure. I want everyone to think I've got it. And in birth, like, you just have to let that go out the window. So I thought that was a little one coming. So so I had a doula, and she was great. At the end, she was great. I had blood there and everything at the end, and I just wanted to go into bed. I was just exhausted, and she was like, come on, Tonya, let's have a shower. I was like, no, I want to just go into bed. No, but you're covered in blood. And I hadn't looked at myself. But she was great. She did masseuse afterwards and before, and she was like, she kept me, when the going got tough, she kept me on the path. Like, for example, when I started feeling some of these contractions in the afternoon, and I was like, she suggested walking home, and I was like, hell no, am I having these hardcore contractions walking down Fulham Road, which is a busy road, in the daylight in May, for everyone to see me being like, oh. I was like, no, I just wanted to like go in, like that primal instinct of wanting to go and be alone and birth and whatever. But she was like, no, if you go home and do it, you're going to start going into labour now. If you walk home and we do this, you're not going to let you do that, but you're going to get the baby into better position, and that's what you want, because I don't want them to have to do anything. So she helped to, and I told her I can be really stubborn, so she really helped to keep me in line with what, and I told her, don't tell me what to do, just remind me what I want to achieve, and that's a better way of working with me. Anyway, yes, doula, I can talk about that in another video, even though I just did a whole video. Understanding the symptoms of, and I should have probably ordered these better, but understanding the symptoms of like the abdominal rupture. So that's something that I tried to familiarize myself with, like, how is it different? Because I think, when you have your contractions, they come and they go. With the abdominal, like if it's starting to tear, that's like a consistent stabbing pain. It feels more like acute pain than this deep muscular pain. I'm probably getting it wrong. It was ages ago now and I haven't slept. So there were just things like that I tried to understand, so that if it was happening, and where my scar was, that I was, I was looking out for it. So I could tell the doctors, the midwives, if something was going on. And again, that kind of ties in with the continuous monitoring. Do you want the continuous monitoring? Do you just want them to put it in there, like with the Doppler thing in the water, and have a listen? Those are your options, but obviously the doctors will tell you, according to NICE guidelines, that Doppler, it's intermittent, continuous, they have more up-to-date information, they can respond faster. This was a really scary decision for me. I was like, am I just trying to be a hippie and I'm actually just going to end up like damaging my child? Like, that was really a hard one to weigh up, and good luck to you. But yeah, that's something to think about. Birth centre and getting your approval early. So don't think you can just rock up on the day if it's a VBAC and say you're going to the birth centre. You have to have that approved, and with a senior consultant, senior midwives, and just like having a birth plan, because you can't start off on the medical centre and then go to the birth centre. You have to, at least try and start off in the birth centre if you're allowed, because being a VBAC is high risk, and they thought I had fibroids, but I managed to get in. And my doula had recommended, at least if you start there, you can go there. You can't go backwards. So, when the pain licks you, just try and hold out, and you can do it. Or like, not these pretty little breaths. Like, when the pain's hitting you, you want to be letting that pain out. I think that also helps the babies, like communicating that things are going on, and even I feel a bit lightheaded, breathing deeper like that. Drugs, what is your goal? Like I said, are you going to go to the birth centre, then it's just gas and air? Are you going to have the continuous monitoring being there, and you're just going to like get high on some morphine or whatever? And it's up to you, absolutely up to you, but just have an idea. I think with the VBAC, you need to be a bit more specific of different routes. So, okay, if I'm here, I'm going to do it this way. If I'm here, I'm going to try that. I'm not comfortable with this. Because you already feel tense, so that's something you don't need to worry about. And some of the midwives and stuff can be a bit like, oh, it's a VBAC, so you need to have asked all your questions in advance, and so you know what you're doing. Again, this is when a doula can be helpful. I said I should have put this as number one. There's been lots of number ones, but mentally prepare. I did a hypnobirthing course, and I'm a Christian, and a little bit through it, I was like, with the lighting. I was getting a bit freaked out by what I was letting in. And I found a Heavenly Welcome. I'll put the link in the bio. And that was amazing. Biblical scripture that supported me all the way through. I used to pray about it every week in church. I'm going to do another video on that. And that allowed me to just really know that my body was built to do this. And, I'd had like generations of women saying that, who all had cesarean, saying it wasn't possible. And, I was really happy that out of like my family, mum and sister, the only one who I was able to have a natural birth. Will I do it again is another question, another video. So yeah, I really just focused on God and like the amazing things that he can do, and that he created this body and the whole process of birth. So what the hell is there to be scared of? People learn to drive cars and fly planes. Of course I can have a baby. It's far more natural, and you don't even need a degree to do any of those things, to do this thing. Understanding the different stages and the different fields, because you might not have an antenatal class because you've already had a child. It's good to understand what's happening and what your body's going through, so you can really each step of the way know that it's normal and not become overwhelmed, and just manage yourself. Because the calmer you are, the less you'll feel the pain, the less you're going to tense up around that scar. So that's better. I've got 1 minute left. Also, get an epinome. It was great. It allows you to understand that feeling of releasing a baby. And I think that was one of the reasons that my baby came out. I didn't know he was out. So yeah, thanks for listening. Feel free to ask questions. I'll try and get back to you, and look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye.